Oh, guys, I think we should do. I
All right,
definitely.
shut up, Yakov. All right, we are live for the 22nd episode of the
Let's Go podcast. We got a very fun podcast. We have two guests who have been waiting for their time to shine. They have been begging, and we finally gave in to the Sabo brothers, who have been waiting very, very impatiently to get on the podcast. Where we finally delivered for them, Yakov and Eli Sabo. It's gonna be a fun podcast. Yakov obviously representing, and Ellie as well, national getaways for the summer 2024 HSL season. And David Gottlieb wearing his, aside for his lack of beard, also wearing his Black Sox I am
your chef, which is spelled Y-O-U-R Avi, not Y-O-U-R-E. But Avi, who's the podcast brought to us by?
What happened?
Who's the podcast brought to us by?
Evo Care Group. We do apologize for Evo Care Group for not shouting them out last podcast. We try to make sure we get them involved every single episode. But Evo has done everything for us. They sponsored us when we had nothing, and now we are a monstrosity and only going to grow and grow and grow. And we thank Evo for that. We got a very big game coming up Sunday, which we'll get into a little bit. And we also want to recap the game that I missed this past Sunday, which Ellie missed as well. So Yaakov is the sole representation for that one. So we're going to get into both those. And Dave, take it away.
Take it away. So let's get right down to it, Avi. Which Sabo do you think is better looking, Yakov or Ellie?
To me, Ellie is a little child. So if I say Ellie, I'm a creep. If I say Yaakov, I guess I'm also a creep, but maybe less of a creep. So
it's hard. Avi, don't forget to mention this little creep walked you off.
What Ellie's referring to is, I think it was 2 summers ago.
I think 3.
Maybe it was 3. Maybe it was 3 summers ago. We went to Rome to play nativity game, as every year we do, until this year, which apparently the new nativity director thinks is too cool for school, and he doesn't know who Avi Edelman is, so the guy's not answering any of my messages, which is really annoying. I wanted to play Sunday night, and the guy's been ignoring me all week. Anyways, we went to play Romu, and they used the goal ball. As in the last podcast, our viewers saw the discussion with Sam Sutton, with the goal ball versus the mush ball. And Romu has 200 fences, yet still wanted to use a goal ball for some dumb reason. So it was a shootout all game. And then it came down to Eli Sabo. I think there was second and third 2 outs, or maybe first and third 2 outs, first and second 2 outs. The guy hits a weak pop-up to right field. And somebody who who's on our team will be playing on Sunday will not be named on the podcast. Misplays the ball, and Ellie claims that it's a clean drive to right field, and forever he have walked off Avi Edelman to win, and it was a whole disaster afterwards.
Avi, as a guy who wasn't there and is going to be independent on this situation, did you win the game?
We got walked off. In front of Romu, and all these kids were coming up to me screaming. It was a very uncomfortable feeling that I had. It was reminiscent of my game in Rayham when I gave up that 3-run home run, which probably you can look up on YouTube. Look up Avi Edelman Rayham on YouTube, and you'll see a very unfortunate circumstance there as well. But this podcast wasn't meant to get into that. I don't know how we got it. Oh, Ellie brought it up. I forgot. Let's get out of that quickly and move on to other material that doesn't involve.
So before getting into the fun interpersonal stuff, Avi, we haven't had a podcast yet breaking down the summer HSL season. So let's, if you guys bear with us, let's take a look at the standings. The Robins are 3-0. Nashville Getaways 2-0. Run differential of 18 runs.
Well, we did play week 1 against the newest team in the league, who, I wouldn't say played the Robins close, but they didn't get mercied. So they played the top 2 teams their first 2 weeks ever in the league, where half those guys haven't played softball in a long time. So that's where our run differential really comes into play, because I think we won last week by 2 or 3 runs. So.
Okay, so you guys had an epic walk-off. Was it a walk-off, or you had like a 6-run comeback against Tuvia Blisco? What happened?
So I'll give you a quick little recap because it was entertaining. To be honest, it really was. The confidence on our team was pretty much shot going into the 9th inning, as it was pretty much we were shut down. I forgot who the pitcher was.
Tuvia Blisco.
He was really shutting us down. If I'm not mistaken, we had 19 pop-ups that were for outs out of a 27-out game. So we really were just getting under everything. We were really popping everything up. We couldn't get anything manufactured. We had 1 inning where we had a 2-run triple. But otherwise, we had like 1 other run throughout that first 8. And then when it came to the 9th, we had 2 outs, first and second. Then guy
Was
would
it 8?
sub.
It was 8-3 at the time, Yakov?
It was 8-3. Yeah, it was 8-3. We were down by 8-3. It was first and second, 2 outs, 2-2 count on a guy who's filling in, batting 10th. No names. Popped up 3 or 4 times prior to that, and then drew a huge walk, fouling off a couple tough pitches, leading it to flip the lineup over, and then from there, the bats just really took off. Starting from the top of the lineup down. I think it was Chaim Zagelbaum followed that with a 2-run single.
Chaim Zagelbaum is one of the very one of the biggest Chaim Zagelbaum fans is sitting right underneath you there, David Gottlieb. David is a Chaim Zagelbaum. What do you call it? What's the word? What's the word? Chassid, right? Chaim Zagelbaum. Chaim is on his Wednesday team. He's going to be Chaim wherever David goes. He tries getting Chaim involved, right, David? Am I wrong?
That's absolutely right. Very five tool player, and there aren't so many of those around.
Yeah, so he got the rally really starting, with a 2-run RBI single. Then Avi, your little friend over there, Sterling Freeman, came up clutch with a huge 2-run triple.
It's about time. It's about time the guy to clutch it. It's really Freeman.
It was clutch. I'm not gonna lie. Listen, I'll tell you, majority of us had our cleats off already, batting gloves put away. We thought it was over.
Well, did you hear about this? I heard about this.
Cleats off. You're joking, right?
I promise you, I had my cleats untied with one slide on already. We were done.
Avi, you're not really running a tight ship over there. I see you go.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The reason we won, I think, was because Avi wasn't there.
How do you figure, Jacob? How do you figure?
The vibes. We had no one screaming, "Here we go," or whatever it was. And everyone was
let's go, Jacob. I think it's let's go.
I don't even know what it is anymore. Look at that. Obviously, doing nuts. How do I not know that already, right? But no, and then I got lucky. I hit a little blooper into center field to hit off like the shortstop's glove and then the second fielder's glove to tie the game. And then I got the second because the ball was just rolling. And then they intentionally walked Pelberg, and then Shlomo Levinger came up.
How do they know Pelberg? How do they know Pelberg?
How do who know Pelberg?
How do they know?
I think they just walked him intentionally, just because
based on his physique.
Really just to set up the force. It was man on second with 2 outs.
Oh.
So with Levinger coming up, and he made them pay big time with a 2-run triple.
Shlomo Levinger.
I'm telling you, the Levingers, and Levinger's he's not a regular on our team. Hopefully, he'll sub enough to qualify for the playoffs. He was subbing because we were down Yitzi Kessler and a couple other guys. But the Levinger brothers, they have a knack for the clutch. Whether it's basketball, whether it's softball, whatever it is, these guys are they're always coming through. I was very, very – I actually want to play for us again this week against you guys, though, but he's upstate this weekend, so he's not available. But Yitzi Kessler just said that he is available. So currently we're 1 outfielder short.
So who's the captain when you're not around, Avi?
Yaakov. It's his fault.
Oh, Yaakov, you're the what do you call it?
It's your fault that you won.
I am. First of all, thanks for the information.
After the game was over, I messaged Yaakov on the team chat. I said, Yaakov, you're the interim captain. You have to give out the game balls. And Yaakov so beautifully gave out the game balls on the team chat.
I think I pretty much wrote up a nice little.
You did.
Who got the game balls? Who got the game balls?
The game ball. The first game ball went to our pitcher, Michael Cohn. After the first 3 innings, we were a little shaky in the field. We had a couple of misplays to let up to 8 runs. The guy locked in. Like I've never seen a pitcher do before. Locked in.
Against a tough team, really.
Really? No, seriously. The guy. I don't think they had a guy reach second base until the 9th inning.
So I have a question. You had Penny Levine in the spring. Now you have Michael Cohen in the summer. Do you think there's a little bit of an Ariel Cohen, Yossi Kaufman situation brewing with Nashville Getaways, where Avi Edelman is stifling the careers of young pitchers?
No, I'll tell you, I don't think it is that, because Avi's commitment to the team has a little bit faded with his commitment to being commissioner, where he'll be missing out on games to drive around to watch other games. Like I would never in my life have predicted Avi to miss, let alone an inning of a game, to miss actual games to just watch other people play. Like, this isn't coming from a guy who would drive around from upstate to Muncie and back to play in 3 different games in 3 different times in one day. Drive from Lakewood to Queens and back to Muncie for another day. So
it's funny. Sam Sutton was saying on the last podcast we did. See, as a commissioner, it's impossible to do both. You got to either be full-time player or full-time commissioner. So maybe
It
I
was
have
in-
to.
It
Maybe
was
I have to
interesting.
adopt that role because it seems like some teammates of mine are really. It's really affecting them. The fact that I'm not as
So
committed.
Yaakov, how old are you?
I am 27.
And Ellie, how old are you?
I'm 22.
Oh, he's a kid. He's a baby.
At
Ellie should be in Roma right now.
Where did you guys grow up?
We grew up in Edison.
Edison, New Jersey. Really?
Edison, New Jersey. Yeah.
That face is shocking that you know what it is.
No.
Yeah.
Is Edison the one right next to Highland Park?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually spent a few Shabbosim in Highland Park. I had a friend who lived there for a little bit. Not people that had been there long term. And then my wife had a friend who lived there. They were in medical school, I think. And there's a medical school like 20 minutes from there.
Yeah, Rutgers.
Rutgers, yeah. So Edison, and your parents are still there? No.
No. My family moved here
7 years ago.
7 years ago. 7 years ago. Moved to Cedar
Okay.
7 years ago.
So is that your connection to LBA because you're not so far from you are not so far from that's not your connection.
No, my connection to LBA was when I got married. I moved to Lakewood.
Okay, you were learning in the
And I was
yeshiva
playing-
there.
No, not yeshiva there. I was just living out
You were
there.
in cash advance. You were in cash advance there.
I was doing home health care out there.
Okay, so there's
Um,
4 options. There's learning, cash advance, home health care, and making charcuterie boards. Those are
Yeah.
the Lakewood.
Pretty much. So I was out there for a few years when I got married in the beginning. You know, first year in the LBA, won the championship, no big deal. Second year, I should say. First year, we didn't even make the playoffs because Avi came in and pitched. The second year,
I
we
mean,
won
you
the
drove
champ-
down to LBA for a see,
That first season, that was the
That's my
summer.
point. See,
that
that's
was
what,
the
that's
summer.
why
Wait,
I
hold up.
seriously can't. That's why I really can't comprehend how Avi would miss an inning, let alone a game.
That was the summer. That was the summer where I was engaged. I got engaged, I think, in May, and in June. My wife may or may not be in the background, so I got to make sure I got this correct. Regardless, I got engaged in. I got engaged right before the summer, and I was getting married after the summer. So during those 2 months, I was really doing nothing but playing softball. So I was playing in Lakewood, Muncie, Five Towns, and in the Hillcrest League in West Hempstead.
So, David, when you hear that, could you even believe that this is a guy who misses a game?
hard to fathom. You know, it was always distressing to me when I was on the old Black Sox with Avi. We'd have like an epic win, right? You know, come from behind, win 4-2, bottom of the ninth, you know, down 2-1, put up 3 runs kind of thing. And then like you're celebrating in the dugout and Avi's racing towards his car so he could drive up to Muncie for his next game. I'm like, does this guy even give a crap about this team? He's already halfway to Muncie by the time speaking of getting your cleats off. So Ellie, you were in you started high school in Edison or only?
No, I started high school here. I lived out here for a year in Woodmere, and then my family moved the next year.
And how come your family moved?
Basically for me.
Wow, you're at-risk child or something? You needed a special school or something?
No,
You went to May, so you can take it what you think about it.
I just didn't want a dorm like Yaakov, so I had to find a better option.
Wait, why did Yaakov have to dorm?
There's no really yeshivas in Edison unless you're going to Edison Yeshiva.
Which is to yeshivish or what?
Yeah.
So where did you go to high school, Yaakov?
I went to Ohave Torah.
Oh, I know, in Riverdale. My brother actually went
Yeah.
there. He was in the first graduating class. Class.
Oh, really?
Like 2000. Yeah, like 2003. Believe
way
it or
before
not.
my-
Yeah, it's way before your time. So you went to Ohave Torah. So Ellie, you didn't want to dorm, so your parents uprooted the whole family for you.
Well, and for my younger sister for high school, because there was not much in Edison.
Got it. So what's your softball history? When did you start playing in these adult or whatever you want to call it, softball or Jewish
2 months
leagues?
ago.
No, I subbed a little bit upstate over the years.
OBBL?
Yeah, in the OBBL, and then subbed here and there for like Yitzchak Weiss sometimes. And then once I came home from Israel for good, I joined the team last year and this year.
Speaking of Yitzchak Weiss, what did you think of that playoff game? So to our viewers, I actually played against Eli Sabo in 2 playoffs.
David really teed himself up for that one.
Well, I'll be honest, I love it. It was a walk-off. Well, I, in all fairness, I lost to Eli Sabo. The crew versus Nashville, believe it or not, the Nashville Getaways Black Sox in the spring. Now there's Nashville Getaways and the Black Sox, which is kind of weird. But we lost, and it's kind of funny because I had faced Ellie Sabo. I was catching like 2 games in a row, and Ellie got like a regular season game, Tigers versus Freedom Fighters in the Wednesday night league. Ellie got like 3 out of 4 or something. Then I saw him on Sunday with the crew. He was like 2 out of 3. So then when we had the playoff game, it was like man on third, 2 out kind of thing. And I'm like, we're intentionally walking this guy. Mendy Warsh comes over to me after the inning. So Ellie goes down to first, and the next guy hits a pop-up. He said, what are you walking Sabo for? He sucks. And I'm like, I don't know, bro. I was like, he was like 6 for his last 7. I was like, he was 6 for his last 7 off of us. So I don't know if he sucks or not, but he's owning us right now. But we managed to beat Ellie on the Tigers. They were beating us 5-0 after the first inning, but we fought back.
Dave, you might just share with the crowd what changed after the first inning was down 5-0?
Sorry, is this an HSL league or is this something else?
It's something else, but Dave, you could still share.
Did you arrive after the first inning?
Avi Edelman arrived in the second inning, down 5-0, and all of a sudden, the runs come pouring in.
What was the final score? 7-6?
Something like that, yeah.
So you only scored 1 run after that first inning?
Yeah, I think so.
So how did you wind up on the Tigers? How did you wind up on Nashville Getaway? On the crew? It seems like you're a hot recruit now for all these teams.
Well, the crew was from Avi. I asked Avi. I said, I need a team, and I want to play for a good team, not just like last year. I played in the same league Sunday morning, and I played for a team that like we had 4. You were on that team also sometimes, David.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, the summer Sunday Black Sox.
No,
not the Black Sox. It was some random team. There was like 4 guys that consistently showed up. Like it was.
That was the Rada put together.
It wasn't called I wasn't on that team. Ellie.
No, you were on the team.
No?
Yeah, you weren't. It was the Rada put together team that he was on.
The new Rada team.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that was a disaster.
Isn't he or Rada's always making teams? I feel like Rada's always making teams.
That's right. He is. He's low key. He's so smooth, calm on the surface, but I think underneath there's like this really, really intense competitor, and he has like a roster. Sorry, Ellie, I'm just gonna interrupt you for 1 second. He sent me. Rada sent me 2 days ago potential recruits for spring 2025 Black Sox. There were like 21 names on there. Let me see if any Sabos were on there.
Avi, maybe you should start a minor league.
Yaakov Sabo better be on there because Yaakov gets.
Yeah. So Ellie. So what happened? So you had.
No, I'll say you got many messages from Shmuel Rada to join his team, so I'm sure you're on the roster somewhere.
Probably on there, yeah.
No Sabos are on there. He doesn't poach. Rada doesn't poach. So you asked Avi. So you got put on a crappy team. But how did you get put on that crappy team? Rada put you on there?
Yeah, because I was on Rada's team during the week in the Wednesday night league. So he was like, "Oh, do you want to play Sunday morning also?" I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And he put me on this team. So it was a disaster. So I texted Avi this year. I was like, "Look, I'm coming home. I'm home from Israel for good. Like I want a team. I want to play. I want to be competitive, good." He's like, "Okay, here." And he just put me on this team, and like it worked out.
Wait, so why did you leave the Wednesday Black Sox to go to the Tigers?
I didn't go to the Tigers. I was a sub. I just played like 8 games for them, subbing.
Rada cut you loose from the Wednesday night team?
Guess so.
He's kind of ruthless.
Wow.
I wasn't planning on playing Wednesday night.
Wait, what did you say, Jacob?
So that batting average must not have been high enough.
Yeah, but don't you guys have a relationship with Yitzhak Weiss though from Beaver Lake? Isn't that the connection there for you guys?
Yeah, so that's where I got the opportunity.
I'm actually going to be repping the Tigers in this new Wednesday night, Tuesday night, whatever weekday of the week league that's coming up starting.
You're a regular, Jacob? You're joining him as a regular?
I did. I officially joined them as a regular.
Is Shia White still on the team?
I think he is.
And don't they have a third A-leaguer, Avi? Who is their third A-leaguer?
I don't know, these rules, these non-HSL...
Well, I don't know if I would actually even commit. I'm hovering on the A-League, playing enough games line over there. I'm pretty non-committal.
Yeah, it's actually funny because...
Is Ezzy Younger coming back?
Yeah, Ezzy's on the team as well.
This is such... Okay, oh man, Aria watches all these.
The live reaction of David's frustration in front of all your eyes right now.
I'll tell you, I don't think there is no, after the A-League ends, it's the playoffs start already next week. There's no.
No, that's not the rule. That's not the rule, Yaakov. The rule is it's a very particular rule. The rule is that you can't have 3 A-leaguers. And what is an A-leaguer? Somebody who's played in the A-League in the last
within the last 2 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Guys, we have to remember this is Jewish softball. Everyone's got to take it down 18 notches.
Don't tell this to us, Jacob. Don't tell this to us.
You know,
This is not an
these
HSL.
rules. First of all, for a commissioner here who doesn't really know the rules of his own game, to start, the rules in these leagues need to be like way relaxed. It's yeshiva softball for adults who still want to feel like they're 22 years old, and that's what it is. You know, like everyone's got it. Like certain people, no names, going to be mentioned, commissioners that are not on this podcast at the moment. Everyone's got to relax. I think that's what it comes down to.
I guess, it's interesting.
I think if the check cashes, there's no problem.
It's a good point. It's a very good point.
What does that mean?
Meaning, if the team is paid for, who cares who plays?
It's a reasonable point. I don't know. I guess once it's in the rules, should it be enforced?
But the rules need to also make sense.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Let's just say I'll be calling Ariel tomorrow to talk about the Tigers roster construction.
No, I don't think she is. So she is not on the roster, actually.
Oh, he's not? He's such a phenomenal talent.
It's just me and Ezzy.
That was a quick switch, Jaco.
I'm actually looking at it now.
Oh yeah, he sent that a roster.
Good save.
Yeah,
So Ellie,
I have it in front of me right now.
Ellie, are you playing for the Tigers?
No, I'm currently a free agent for the summer. No, I'm playing for Avi. Just Sunday. That's it.
Just Sundays.
You're not playing at night.
No.
Sabo, it seems like people, Ellie, it seems like people undersell you, is my sense.
Maybe, but it's okay.
But David, Ellie's still a fresh little chipmunk. He's still a rookie in these parts. He's not.
Yeah,
he's not a
confirmed,
first...
by the way. Check the roster. She is not on the roster.
All right.
Okay.
I feel in these leagues, I feel like you make a name for yourself with your bat. I don't have the best bat. I come with my glove and I play defense. That's my strong suit.
By the way, and both you guys can attest to this because I've seen you both play fabulously on the left side of the infield. Something that it took me the longest time to figure out, and it's just so obvious to me at this point. It's so much harder to find talent on the left side of the infield than the left side of the outfield. I don't know if do you guys agree with that?
Probably. I mean, the infield's harder than the outfield, in my opinion.
But it does seem like the big stars are usually left fielders and center fielders. I wonder why that is. Maybe because
I'll be honest with you, there's not many plays I get a game at shortstop.
Really?
Because I don't get many. I get like
I
one
would
or
say
two.
majority of, at the end of the day, like going back to what I was saying before, it's softball. So, there's a lot more times where the balls are hit up into the outfield, into the gaps, than into the infield.
I would say though, right? I would say
especially in this league where pitchers know majority how to pitch.
You don't think you're getting 5 balls a game at shortstop?
No, I would say the average I get 2, and one of them is probably usually a pop up.
Funny, when I'm pitching, I would say the most plays go to the third baseman, and then outfield, and shortstop's one of the last probably.
Really?
Yeah, because I pound everybody inside, so most people are either looking
maybe it's the pitchers I've been hanging out with. But Nachum Mintz gives up a lot of fly ball contact.
I'm telling you, the team we played this week, we had 19 pop-ups to the outfield, or infield, whatever it was. But they were just pop-ups, meaning.
Well, that's Tuvia also pitches very slow, so he sort of induces those pop-ups because he gets people to jump out of their shoes.
Yeah, they do jump out of their shoes.
The pitchers know what they're doing, and they really know how to really pitch.
That's true. He also he does.
And they pitch to their team. They pitch to their strengths.
Avi,
and they pitch to their own strengths, let alone their team strengths.
It occurs to me that not only did we forget to put somebody very important on the graph, on the poster of sponsors, we forgot to mention in the podcast tonight that Daniela Sabo Designs, Yaakov Sabo's wife, is a team sponsor for the HSL Boys and Girls Youth League. And she took
Daniela Sabo Photography, not Daniela Sabo Designs. 2 separate things, Dave.
Yeah, Dave, you got to keep up. There's 2 different things. Avi's kid now got sick because he ate too much cake this morning. And
Yeah, we had a big photo shoot, a big cake smash today for my son who turned 1 with the Sabo photography in the 5 towns.
Really?
Photos may or may not be attached to the HSL. Look for Donnie Edelman all over.
Very cute.
And a little gift to all the viewers out there: HSL 10 gets you 10% off on your next photo shoot booked.
Is that a real thing?
Real thing.
Look at that.
Amazing.
Dave, you'll have to attach that to the bottom when we post this so people could see.
Mirza Hashem, my son's going to be getting an upshare in about 11 months. I'm going to book Daniela soon. I don't want to miss the opportunity. And I also don't want to miss the discount code.
And you also want to make up for these now 3 mess ups that you had in the last.
It's been bad. It's been bad. So let's get into some raw baseball here, Yaakov. I'm going to ask you a question. You have 5 seconds to answer. Okay?
You got it.
Who's the best hitter on Nashville Getaways?
Me.
Who's the best fielder on Nashville Getaways?
Me.
Good answer.
Which Sabo brother is better at baseball, you or Ellie?
Me.
Which brother is cool?
What?
This isn't going the way I thought it would. Which brother is cooler?
I gotta give it out to Ellie.
Very
Thank
good. Ellie, ready?
Yeah.
Who's the best hitter on the crew?
Shoot Danny.
Who's the best fielder on the crew? Ellie Sabo.
I mean, I had a great year, but I don't want to.
These Sabos have one thing they're not lacking is confidence.
Listen, I think if you're gonna play and try to win, you got to have confidence.
That's right.
Good point.
Ellie, one more question for Ellie. Who has the best personality on the crew?
Oh, it's got to be shoot, I'm blinking. Of course, I'm blinking on his name right now.
Are you referring to the celeb?
I say Warsh.
Yeah, Mendy. I'm sorry,
Mendy's unbelievable.
Definitely Mendy.
Unbelievable.
Sorry, Mendy.
Mendy is great. Mendy's all vibes. He's all vibes.
Yeah,
The guy's
definitely.
Yaakov, who has the best personality on Nashville Getaways?
It's really
Who's
I
the
was
better
gonna say
hitter,
Albie
Sully
Edelman.
Friedman or Jonathan Lowinger?
No one's not on National Getaways.
Okay, Black Sox or whatever you guys were last season. Switch on.
that's a tough question. It's regardless, I'm gonna get yelled at for answering this question, so I'm just gonna plead the fifth.
Oh, Yaakov, a little lack of confidence there. You're scared of Jonathan Lowinger getting mad at you, huh?
So then, obviously, you know the right answer.
I'm not sure if I would actually pick Jonathan. Well, it's
I would say
interesting.
it's a different style. Stroley's more of will get you more of that single double. Lowinger will be more of that home runner.
You know, Yaakov, Jonathan changed his game totally. The guy is now like literally the opposite. He's like trying to hit the balls to all fields, trying to limit his power and like more singles and doubles. It's a huge strength, but it's also a huge not strength because he does a lot of times hit line drives with the gaps down right center, which I've never seen him do before. But he also randomly will try to do like a half swing to the right side and pop it up to first when he could easily crush over the left fielder's head. So it's, I guess, pros and cons. Not everyone's as fabulous as Avi Edelman when it comes to hitting to all fields and consistent like I do. So it takes a lot of work and effort, and Jonathan will get there one day. But I'm training him. I'm still teaching him. So one day he'll get
Going back to the half swings, I was watching on that little stream that you had the other night, that playoff game you guys had, or the championship game of the HSL, what was it, spring?
Yeah.
spring.
We got to cut that out. That fake half swing check.
It's funny.
bunt.
Steve Pollan says the same thing when I do it.
Wait, who is check swinging?
He was referring to Goldenberg. Goldenberg hit the half check swing dribbler to third, where
I'll send you the clip. No problem.
Send me the clip. He does. Goldenberg
There was
does
a
do that a lot.
play over there by the third baseman. I don't know who it was, but it was a beautiful play. I'm not going to lie, but
Ellie Sabo
you played third base in the championship?
Yeah.
Ellie made a fantastic play. Goldenberg if you watch HSL highlights, you should see. But Goldenberg tried hitting a little dribbler down the third base line on purpose, that type of swing, and he hit it foul. And after the next pitch, Ellie Sabo basically called him out. I think his number is 2-2.
1-1.
So he's like, what is it?
11.
11. So Ellie's like, come on, 1-1, do it again. And I'm right there, so you hear it on the video. It's very cool. Next pitch, Goldenberg again, the little chop right on the third base line. Ellie runs in, charges.
I love it.
By half a step. Phenomenal. It was phenomenal content.
I gotta see these. I'm I'm going to, I think I'm going to try something new for this podcast. I think I'm going to upload. This is going to be the highest tech thing we ever did. I'm going to upload that highlight at this spot in the podcast, 29:45.
Yeah, like a little sports center, a little like recap video.
Are you able to do that, right. Dave? Are you able to put stuff in?
Of course. You think we're paying $50 a month for Riverside just to sit around and drink beer? I mean, this is a high tech. This is a high tech podcast situation.
Wide at 3, the dangerous Josh Goldenberg. Now you do not want this guy on the bases, and Josh, you got to be careful. As Josh Goldenberg, with that speed, if he hits a dribble to third, he is on first base. Yep, that's the Morty Rosenfeld, Avi Edelman swing. Steve Pollan would not like that swing. Steve, if you were watching this, you are having nightmares right now. 0-1, Eli Sabo crawling in at first base. And he does it again. And there we go. Sabo fields, fires, got him! Eli Sabo might be the play of the night. Eli Sabo with a quote saying, "I see you 1-1." And oh boy, did he see 1-1. 1-1 versus 1-1. Eli calls his own shot and delivers the fire to first. What a way. What a play.
So, Yaakov, what areas of improvement for the revamped HSL?
In the revamped HSL.
Doesn't feel revamped to you. Okay, let me phrase it differently. What areas of improvement in the HSL?
What's the question?
Are there any ways in which the softball experience you've been having on Sundays since March can be improved?
If Yaakov can't think of anything, it means the league is so amazingly perfect, which is a huge, huge compliment.
So here's the thing about Yaakov. He's very self-confident, but he's scared to hurt people's feelings, I see. With that Lowinger Friedman thing, and now with this question, he's
we can do it this on off the podcast, right?
He's a mushball under the self-confidence.
This is a new Yaakov Sabo. When it comes to Avi Edelman, I don't think Yaakov Sabo is scared to hold back. So I'm seeing a whole new side of Yaakov right now.
I won't throw you out under the bus in public, though. I'll keep it private. If I have a problem with something, I keep it in-house. Once the code starts going out public, that's where.
Eli Sabo is the type where he'll just say whatever's on his mind if he has any issues. Eli, tell us, what's wrong with HSL? How can we improve? Give us some issues. What are some problems? Something you ran into? Was it that perfect? Are we that amazing that we tripled the size of the league and it went completely flawless and was unbelievable?
No, you need to have more games in 5 towns. Queens is way too far.
That's the top point. Yaakov, you should have said that. I was waiting.
This kid is fresh off the boat from Edison, New Jersey, and he's talking about too long a drive from Queens to the 5 towns.
Happens to be in Edison. We had some good leagues and good fields and all close by.
Really? There was good leagues in Edison?
Yeah.
What leagues are in Edison? TNEC, you mean?
No, in Edison.
There's softball leagues in Edison?
Very far from Edison.
I heard it closed after COVID.
Oh, yeah? So, see.
They struggled to get
I'm talking 10 years, 15 years ago, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and the Crew also had a lot of games in West Hempstead, which I guess is a tiny bit closer than
That was
Queens.
fine. West Hempstead's fine. I like the fields there, that's why, so it's fine. A lot of the fields in Queens aren't good.
There's certain fields that you have to get rid of.
Yeah.
For good.
Ellie, did you end up playing any of the games at College Point?
I mean, I played one 2 weeks ago.
How was that?
Our first game this season.
That was
actually a bad field.
It's a far drive. Just a far drive for them. I think already.
Far drive.
Right.
Nice field.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. So hopefully for next year we'll have that field on the menu for the spring also. But what's better for you, a better field or if you could pick a longer drive for a better field, is it worth it?
For Yaakov, the answer is none. It's 8 a.m.
Factual.
Yaakov would rather drive 3 hours and play at 8 a.m. than drive 20 minutes and play at 10 o'clock.
It's true. The late games are too much. And that's the night league also. Those late games, 9:30 games, too much.
Those are over pretty quick, though. 7-inning games.
Oh, that's what I would say. The 7-inning games are not a move.
Not a fan of that.
And what was it? Tight end legacy, whatever.
It's so funny because the Titan League, there are guys who absolutely hate 7 innings, and guys who are absolutely it's 7 innings is a must. There's such a
I don't think it's a full game. It's remember during the MLB when they had that COVID season and they were playing 7-inning doubleheaders. It's not a real game.
So it's funny. So I agree with Yaakov. I would much rather not.
The Dodgers won the World Series.
But then you have guys. What happened?
No, that's the year the Dodgers won the World Series, right? It was not a real year.
But then you have guys, I don't know if I should say names. But you have some real five towns, big softball old timers who basically say by the time 7 innings comes, like it's not softball anymore. It's guys who are tired and they don't have the energy. Like 7 innings is enough to have a legit competitive softball game before pitchers start getting tired, and it's like that's I guess the counter argument from the older guys in the league. So it's
All
If
right,
it's
so
going to affect the guy throwing his fastball for 7 innings straight, then here, learn another pitch.
right.
So we got to wrap up soon, Avi. I think we need to take. We're all going to be playing in the same game on Sunday, right?
Yes, we are.
We got to take predictions.
We are missing Swirly Friedman.
If we stop giving excuses, Avi, we'll beat them, and that's the end of it.
We're also missing Josef Pelberg. So we're missing 2 of our outfielders. We're missing our star catcher, Natana Lindenberg. We are, and that's it.
No, we're missing one of our infielders.
We're not missing any of our infielders. Philly Vag's a backup. He's not a regular.
And Nissen Gordon.
He's also a backup. Nissen Gordon and Philly Vag are very, very valuable pieces, but they are backups, so that can't be. We can't use that as an excuse.
How do you decide who's a backup on your team?
Avi, why do we have excuses?
No,
First
you're
of all,
right.
a big shout out to Nissen Gordon. Just had a baby boy today.
Mazel
Tov,
tov,
Mazel
Nissen
tov.
Gordon.
Mazel tov there.
Is that why he hasn't been responding to when I've been adding him on the chat to respond if he's in or out for Sunday?
Yeah.
Maybe if you toss him a Mazel Tov, he'll be a little more receptive.
Yeah.
I think the baby was born like an hour after the photo shoot with my kid.
Seriously.
I do because I think my wife was messaging your wife Yaakov and she responded like, "Oh, my sister just had a baby like literally 2 minutes ago."
Yeah.
So I was in live time on that. Yeah, so we got an exciting game this Sunday. The Black Sox 0-2 coming off of a very tough loss to the Robins. A couple of controversial calls, from what I understand, that really cost the Black Sox the game. I think
it's tough to say. But yeah.
Might have cost them the game.
Didn't help,
What was the score? 4-1.
Final score is 5-2.
5-2. If I understand, Ari Moskovic is out for Sunday as well.
That's right.
So both teams are coming in a little shorthanded. I think the pitching edge goes to us with Avi Edelman on the mound. Who's your pitcher even, Dave?
So actually, Shmuel Adelson pitched last Sunday really nicely. I don't know. He was making his HSL debut, as far as I know. He's a very quirky pitcher. He's got like 5-6 different releases and a lot of different speeds. I wasn't expecting it. The problem is he's no killer instinct. A lot of the pitchers around these leagues want to actually murder the batter. Adelson he's very Adel. I don't know how else to put it. So I think he's got to develop a little more.
Shmuel Adelson never played on the Romo staff team. When we had him on the podcast, we were going back and forth. He claims he never did. I could have sworn he was like third base for us for like one half of one summer. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah, he wouldn't remember.
Avi, that was all your department, knowing everybody.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting game. Dave, you could give your prediction first. Are you gonna be behind the plate or at second base for Sunday?
I'm gonna be. I'm holding down a very strict second base rule for this season. Black Sox. I'm very. You gotta be. I don't know. It's tough because a lot of people. What do you say?
You gotta be confident.
No, you got to be confident. I was going to say you have a lot of people who are overconfident and they can't handle playing catcher. My ego can handle it, so I've been doing a lot of that. But I really prefer playing the infield. So I ended up catching a lot in the spring. Oh, that's for another reason. Also, we had a new pitcher who needed a psychologist behind the plate to help him through. Great guy.
Good, though.
What do you? Let me actually tell you a story. It was actually the game against you guys in the regular season. This guy, Murray Silver, this older guy, pitched the first inning. You remember, Ellie?
Oh, yeah.
So he pitched the first inning, and then his body broke in half. So Jake Casson came in, and the problem was in the last game, he had pitched really well, and then he melted down in the seventh. And I was talking to the umpire, Mark, about it. Mark's like, it's probably a mental thing more than fatigue. So I don't know if you guys know, I'm a psychologist. So I was like, okay, this is my time to shine. So I'm like, Rada, I'm going to catch. And I coached him through the game, and I take credit psychologically for him getting through that game. But it didn't work against you guys when we put. So then I ended up being like Casson's personal catcher, kind of like Andy Pettit and I think Joe Girardi. I don't remember, something like that. But it didn't work in the playoffs against you, Ellie. So anyway, I'm holding strict to second base this season because I really much prefer playing.
Who's your catcher?
Rada's been catching.
Rada's not going to be here this week either, though.
He's not, so he better not ask me to catch. I don't know. We'll see.
You'll find your way behind the plate.
Dave, we prefer you in the field.
Right.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean, Jakob.
We got a lot of
Take it how you
we got a lot of we got a lot of guys who love hitting the ball to the right side of the field, Dave. So to have you at second would be our pleasure.
Who do you have? It's really
Shirley's not playing. Yakov pounds the ball to the right side. I pound the ball to the right side.
guys. I'm ready. Now I gotta play. Now I gotta.
We have a
play
lefty,
second base.
Ruben Rusick, who pounds the ball to the right side. Almost every single one of his hits go to the right side. There's gonna be a lot of work there at second base, Dave.
I'm ready for it, guys. I'm ready for confidence. I learned from the Sabos.
Let's get a prediction, Dave. What do you think? Sunday, you got Nashville Getaways versus the I Am Your Chef Black Sox.
I'll be honest with you. It's very tough for me because looking over your rosters, you guys have a much more powerful roster. It's going to take really. It's going to take Shmuel Adelson. He really pitched very, very well.
By the way, the Robins do have, however good they were in the spring, they actually have a stronger roster in the summer. So holding them to 5 runs through 9 innings is actually it is
and
very
a couple runs, and they scored in a couple of errors. Look, I have to pick my team to win, right? That's part of the rule here. So we're gonna say 3-2 Black Sox over. I'm your chef. Black Sox over Nashville Getaways. Oh, and the second baseman is gonna make probably turn 3 or 4 double plays.
Ooh, steep.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you're going to be behind the plate. I can almost guarantee Who else is ready to find to play catcher on a Sunday morning softball?
You know what? I'm like
8 a.m. in the Bronx.
Oh, you're right. It's right. It's a 15-minute drive from Yankee Stadium, by the way. So if anybody's playing in College Point on 10 o'clock on a Sunday, bring a change of clothes.
Oh, is the game at 10 this Sunday?
No, I'm saying in general. If you're
8.
playing 10 o'clock in College Point in the summer season, bring a change of clothes and hop onto the Yankee game for 1 o'clock game after. It's right there. I didn't realize. Jakob told me we were in the Bronx. Like, what are you talking about? We're in Queens. Then I realized it's literally on the way to Yankee Stadium. It's like 15 minutes from Yankee Stadium without traffic.
You know, there's this gorgeous park I discovered even deeper in Queens called Crocheron Park in Bayside, and I'd love to add it to the roster of fields, but I think it's just too far for people from the 5 towns.
Jakob Sabo's head's going to explode if you add that field to the roster. Elliot, what do you give us a prediction on the?
I might rather play with the needles over there in the what's that area over there?
Oh, you're talking about Bayswater. Bayswater. Yeah. Whatever happened? We still have that Bayswater field, don't we, Dave? Isn't it still on? Don't we still have that through the summer?
Yeah, $1,000 worth of Bayswater wasting away on Sunday morning.
They play cricket in right field.
Right, I'm saying the cricket people are probably having a field day over there. No pun intended.
You guys should know when we first got involved with the league and booking the permits, like Bayswater was like the one field that was a constant. So it was like the first permit that came through, and we booked like every second of it that we could because we were just nervous. Like fields are they're like gold, kind of. They're hard to get, and you don't have anything if you don't have fields. So we have tons of Bayswater. Has there been one game played at Bayswater this season by us?
No, there won't.
So
there won't.
We have, I think, one field from March until September, and the second field, I think we also booked out a bunch of weeks out of it. A lot of Bayswater.
2 Bayswater. This is the second Bayswater field?
Yeah, it's in the back. Yeah, did we not book the second one? I don't remember, honestly.
I don't remember ever playing.
So let's get predictions because I got to run, guys.
Elliot, what do you think?
I think Nashville Getaways wins outright. Mark it outright.
You give a score?
What does outright? What does outright mean? Like it's not. What is?
Not
you
even
mean they win?
What do you mean?
Not even going to be close.
You mean it's a beatdown?
Not even going to be close.
You think it's gonna be a mercy? By the way, there's a lot of controversy going around, murmurs about getting rid of the mercy rule, or at least
it's a great idea. It's a great idea.
It definitely needs to be modified, especially if you're coming out 8 a.m., 10 a.m., you're schwitzing out there in the sun to play 3 innings, 4 innings, 5 innings, at least make it to 7 or unless it's 25 runs or something like that.
Shout out to Moshe Goldgrab who messaged me about this week. Same.
Yeah.
We even pushed our mercy rule off the other week, week 1. It's 7 innings as opposed to 5 because everyone just wants to still play.
Yeah, we decided to play a couple extra innings so they didn't have to go home early. So, Ellie, give us a score.
All right, let's say 8-1.
8-1.
No mercy, just because I want to play 9 innings.
A lot of love going for the Edelman on the mound this week. I haven't pitched since Thursday. I pitched 5 innings in the Cares tournament where we actually beat Shua Danny, your former teammate, Ellie. But I haven't pitched since last
Edelman,
Sunday.
here's the thing, though. I don't think most of the players on my team have faced a pitcher with your velocity, period, this year. I'm not even saying you have phenomenal velocity. I'm just saying I don't think they've seen it at all.
Right. No,
maybe
listen.
Ariel Cohen may be on his fastballs throws at your velocity.
I'll take the love. Keep the love coming. Jakob, what do you have for the game Sunday?
I was thinking more like 11-3.
Similar run differential.
I'll
to
probably go
Ellie.
somewhere. I was thinking like 10-2.
Everybody's thinking 7 or 8 runs. So the gauntlet is thrown.
I think it'll be close, like 2-1 or 3-1 us until like the 6th inning. It's like typical, and then one of those later innings will blow it open with like 6 or 7 runs in an inning.
Adelson will be a little bit of a wild card because he's going to keep you guys under. You know how you guys had a rough game against one of the Levingers last season? No, last year.
Yeah, and Titan. Yeah.
You know, like somebody new comes in that you've never seen before, and they're a little crafty or quirky, and
that's exactly what happened to Levenger, by the way. Levenger has like a little bit of a wonky release.
Yeah, but the problem with that one was, that's what I would say the problem was with this week. You know, when we had the guy, he throws the ball back and forth in his hand before he pitches the ball.
Right.
But then he figured it out in the ninth inning.
By the way, that's why we need to play 9 over 7, because that's why we break it open in the 9th inning. We score 8 runs.
Right. It gives us more time.
So maybe what we need to do is give a different look from the 7th inning and on. Maybe we'll bring Murray Silver down for a couple of innings.
I think the guy's broken for the rest.
Unfortunately,
broken indefinitely.
All right, so the gauntlet is down. So I guess so if I predicted a win of 1 run, you guys each predict 7 or 8 runs. The Vegas line, I guess, is basically like a 5-run Nashville Getaways win. If you split the difference. So okay, I think I'd put money. I think I'd put money on Black Sox +5 for sure.
All right, what do you want to bet on that one, Dave?
A Daniela Sabo photo shoot at my son's Oak Shack.
What's in it for me?
What's in it for you? Right, that's a good question. You could get a photo shoot too.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate
it. All right, guys. Any final thoughts before we close?
No, I think we're good.
I think I'm good. What time is it? We're recording late. It's at 9:26. We don't do so many of these late night podcasts. This is a very impressive thing, especially for me. I get very tired at night. This shows my dedication.
Wait, so where's Ellie? Yeah, thank you, Avi. Where's Ellie? Where's Ellie playing on Sunday?
Ellie is playing. What do you mean? Where's he playing?
He's the third baseman.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and also we have Mr. Sabo
is the shortstop,
and Mr. Sabo at first base. Jakob and Ellie's father is coming down as well. The Sabo trio, we call them, repping first, short, and third.
How old is your dad?
50.
50.
Might not have wanted you to say that. We'll see what happens.
How old are you, Ellie?
I'm 22.
22. So I'm closer in age to your dad than to you, Ellie.
It's a little weird. It is like a little. It's a little like what's the word? Strange. A little strange.
All right, everybody. Thank all of you for your late night dedication to the podcast. And we'll see you Sunday.
Good luck.
Yeah.
All right, we are live for part 2 of the 21st episode of the
Let's Go podcast. We got a fun podcast today. Steve Pollan was taking a lot of heat in the last few podcasts, whether it was on purpose or whether it was not. There was a lot said, and we cannot wait to hear Steve's reaction. And Steve's finally ready to recap this 2024 Spring League Championship, which was honestly, we couldn't have written it up better. I'm sure for Steve, we could have written it up better. He would have came out of the winning side.
Could have written it up a little better.
Yeah, but it lived up to the hype, went to the end of Game 3, and literally to the last play. So we are going to hear from Steve and his response and his take on everything that's been going on the last month or so.
That's been a lot of strays on the HSL podcast the last couple of weeks. So,
I was telling Steve right before we started. I said I think people still consider him the king because they wouldn't be taking shots at him. Like nobody's taking shots at Joe Biden anymore. The man is down and out. You know, he's done. So people are still coming at him.
Right.
I don't know about that, but it's definitely It's all right. You can come at me. Like I said, I got the ball in my hand, so I could. As long as you can stay in that batter's box. You come at me all day. So
You know something funny? I was talking to Sach Felberg, and he was telling me he watched a podcast with Sam Sutton, and he said, Sam was talking how Steve was in his prime, 10 to 15 years ago, and he's not the same pitcher as he is anymore as he was. So he was telling me he's gonna quote that and put it down on a piece of paper, hang it up in your dugout for the Monday Night Playoffs. I'm like, I said, I think you're forgetting who you're playing. Just wait till after the series against us, then you could put it up in any other league and any other game. Just don't do it because we're playing you guys Monday night. I don't need Steve to have any extra motivation going into that series against us.
I don't know. I that's the first time I've heard that it dropped off dramatically. So I guess I got to step it up now. So whatever.
Was that the exact quote? Dropped off dramatically? Is that the exact quote that
No,
that was said?
but that's how I'm taking it. So.
Right.
They said there was prime Steve Pollan and there's current Steve Pollan. That was the so let's start with the championship series. Like Avi said, unbelievable series. Everything any fan of this league could have hoped for. The first game, I believe the Bombers won, right?
3-1, I think, right?
Yep.
So they scored in the first inning. Yeah.
So why don't you take us through each game? And one thing I've been intrigued by is the fact that you decided to pitch all the games of the playoffs and not switch it up, of the championship and not switch it up.
So, I have no problem. So based on that is that it wasn't any slight to anybody. Like Koenig he just wasn't ready physically. Like, he hasn't pitched a lot yet this year. So we just felt for the team it was better if I go because I wasn't tired. I felt like I could still go. Yehuda was always available if we needed him, but he just hasn't thrown enough innings yet. But if he was in prime season form, yeah, because he plays at night and he's missed a bunch of games at night. He didn't play. I know Yossi Kaufman's been pitching most of the games at night for him. He pitched a few innings for us one game. He actually pitched great. I wasn't there this weekend, but he played Sunday, pitched a great game for us in Young Israel League. So he didn't feel up to snuff in terms of playing against a lineup like that with basically no spring training. So that was the thought process behind it. Also, he's very good defensively. It helps our outfield, even though we have 4 other great outfielders, but can't have enough. And we just felt that gave us the best chance to win.
And in terms of giving the other team, and look, how many runs did they put up in the 3 games, honestly?
7, 8, whatever.
Right.
So
yes, I guess it was the right decision, but were you thinking at all about giving them a different look for a different game, or that's not the way you think about it?
I don't think about that at all. I've had many times I've gone 2 games in a series. I've gone 3 games in a day. And it's not you just do what you can do. But
so what's the reason why?
Like I said, if Yehuda was in mid-season form and he's been pitching, then he for sure would have gotten a ball in game 2. He just wasn't physically ready.
What is the reason why some teams bring down two? In constructing a roster of a top-tier team, what would be the reason to have 2 pitchers on the staff?
So some guys physically can't go 2 games. Physically, mentally. Like, I know it's, to me, it's more of a mental challenge than a physical challenge. I could throw all day. My arm is not tiring. It's just when you're going against, let's say, a team like the guys who played, what are they called again?
Team Ventures.
So they have 1 to 10 that's stacked, so every batter, there's no taking off, and also it's a 2-1, it was a 1-1 game, 2-1 game the whole day. It wasn't like we were 3-0, we could relax. So every pitch mattered, every at bat mattered. So mentally it takes its toll on you. To me, that's more of a challenge than anything than the physical challenge. So certain like Ash is a great pitcher. He doesn't like going 2 games. He'd rather just focus on 1 game, and physically and mentally, he's much better in 1 game than he is 2 games. I've seen him go 2 games, and he's pitched great in 2 games as well, but he just rather go 1 game. And if he has a guy like Yossi Kaufman or someone else that is able to go the 2nd game or a dime scene, he rather have that. I personally rather pitch. If I can go 2 games, I'm going to pitch. But if I had Yehuda Koenig midseason, Yehuda Koenig, then I have no problem taking a backseat to that either. So
I'm trying to look up the scores for the Championships game 1, 2, and 3. I can't find it on here anywhere.
I thought it was 3-1, 3-1, 5-3 maybe.
Yeah, and then I think you guys are up 3-2, and the reason why I knew that is because I had you guys winning 3-2 in game 3, so I would have had it exactly correct.
I thought we were up 2-1. They won 3-2 is game 3.
Oh, sorry, 2-1. Right, sorry, I had you guys winning 2-1, and then they won 3-2. So that's a lot. It's a lot. You gave up it's 9 runs in 21 innings in 3 games against a team that was stacked like that. I think that's, like as a pitcher, if you're on fire like that and you're holding down teams, like just go. You just ride with it, which I think honestly was the there's obviously a little bit of controversy that was, I don't think we ever spelled out on the podcast, but also with Ash and Kaufman and Menachem. Menachem decided to, ride with Kaufman, even though Ash came down for that game 2. And I think the reason being is Menachem felt that, as whether or not Kaufman had his ace stuff or not, he was holding down, the Bombers. The Bombers didn't put up too many runs after Diamond Team came out. I think they only scored 1, maybe 2 runs the rest of that game. And then Kaufman held the Bombers down to 1 or 2 runs the next game, so Menachem decided to stick with him. So I think as a pitcher, especially a quote-unquote top-tier elite pitcher, you don't want to mess with someone's rhythm. If someone's pitching, throwing well, and has his stuff and is getting batters out, especially batters that are phenomenal hitters, you don't want to really mess with that because you want to bring someone else in, and all of a sudden you wake the team up and they start getting hard hits and scoring a lot of runs.
It also depends how you're getting guys out, how you're scoring runs. If you're scoring runs on dinks and dunks and you're getting outs on line drives and guys playing in the right, Yankee Itzquitz making stupid plays in left center, like where he's playing, there's a lot of, I thought game 2, they got lucky. I mean, Yossi, I'm sure will admit that he did not have his best stuff game 2. He pitched much better in game 3. So I thought the results were not indicative of the performance per se. He was great in game 3. He had much better control. He had his fastball game 3. Game 2, he was off. He was throwing a lot more changeups. We were hitting a lot of hard outs. We made a lot of stupid plays in the bases. We bailed him out a few times. I just thought, their decision is their decision. I get why Menachem did it. If I have Daniel Ash fresh, I'm going with him. I mean, that's just my opinion, and it's not like Yossi already pitched 5 innings because he came in early in game 1. So it wasn't like he wasn't, it worked out for them, but maybe it didn't work out. I don't know. Maybe the long-term ramifications are not.
Right. And I was going to say, we'll have to see how this relationship unfolds. I remember one play clearly. I think you guys, either you were tied or down 1 in one of the late innings of game 2 with bases loaded, 2 outs. And I forget who it is, hit a rocket, but right at Archie at third. Like an absolute bomb.
Tzvi Gewurz had 3 or 4 of the hardest outs you'll ever see in those 2 games. Right at guys, bullets. Yeah, he hit a rope right at Archie.
That's it anywhere else. That's 2 runs, and I think that gives you guys the lead and probably win the championship without even getting to game 3.
Yeah, then the play that Huey Hoffman hit a line drive into left center that Yankee was playing in a place he should be playing for Huey Hoffman. Huey Hoffman is a power gap hitter. He just happened to hit a line drive right at him, and that, I think that was also men on base in that situation.
Yes, 2 on and 2 out in the early innings.
Yeah. So
let me ask you guys a question about this decision, Kaufman versus Ash. I've never met Ash, but from what I've seen and heard, Kaufman's a bit hungrier, competitively, at least publicly or something. Meaning,
nonsense.
Kaufman sort of has untrue.
Listen, how they play. Listen, they're both gamers, right? They're both guys who want to win. They play hard. Yossi, I think, is they're both different than me, and Avi is more on my side of the table when it comes to this kind of stuff. We're much more aggressively competitive. We're outspoken. Both of those guys are very happy-go-lucky on the field. Like Yossi, even in the podcast said, he's very he's chill. He doesn't get upset at anybody. Softball, whatever. Ash plays it off like that also. Come on, you can't be that good and win that many games and play the way they do if it didn't have a burning desire to be that way. So don't let nonsense.
It's just funny because it comes across like you always see Ash pulling up last second and rolling in and talking, making jokes on the mound. But then the guys, I think at one point this year he had a streak in the Monday Night League. I think he threw 5 games in a row allowing 1 run or less. It was incredible. And these aren't jokes of teams he's dealing with. Every single team he's pitching against is really talented in the lineup.
You guys, no, it's an interesting point. You're reminding me. I remember years ago I was listening to Mike Francesa, and he was talking about Michael Jordan. And he said, I think people don't realize about Michael Jordan is that he has a competitive drive bordering on the pathological.
Yeah. So sometimes that's on the outward and you could see it, and sometimes it gets masked by, look, Ash, I don't really care. It's a softball, whatever, he cares. Trust me, he cares. Like Yossi cares. They all care. They wouldn't be waking up. Well, Ash really doesn't wake up for the early game Sunday morning, but you don't play this many leagues, this many games, this competitive if you don't care. It's just not possible. And then to excel.
Yeah, one of the things, I have to say, one of the things I've really enjoyed about the Bombers this season is, and I alluded to this in one of the podcasts with King Ventures, is the Bombers are very comfortable with their desire to win. And I think other teams, there seems to be sometimes a kind of, I just said to somebody last night, I won't say who, I was at the game, I said, you're a competitive guy. And he said to me, what, me competitive? I don't care if we win or lose. I said, are you kidding me? And some people are less comfortable owning their desire to beat the other team. It's interesting. I don't know what it is. I'm a psychologist and I'm getting curious about it now because I'm seeing all these different personality types when it comes to competitive sports.
So I was coaching my son in Little League. This must have been like in first, second grade, whatever it was. And like, you play all the kids and you coach all the kids and you do everything the right way. But at the end of the day, you're playing to win the game, right? The kids are playing and everyone gets to play. It's Little League. It's not like, people are being paid to play. So everyone gets to play their position, whatever. But when the game gets, at the end of the game, you want your best players, the best positions. You want to win the game. And it's also fair for the kids. They're playing hard. So I remember, I put like the best kid at first, the second, shortstop, pitcher, whatever, like like the Little League positions where whatever. And the lineup, whatever, we arrange it so the better players are going to get up again in the later innings. And I remember one of the mothers, I think one of the fathers actually came over to me and said, why are you guys like, why do you care so much? Like, it's just they're only little kids and whatever. I'm like, I don't care so much in terms of like, it's like doesn't end my life if they lose or not, but if they're going to if there's a scoreboard and they're keeping score and someone's winning a trophy at the end and someone's not, then it's your responsibility to play to that goal. And if it's not, then go play choose up somewhere. Like this is the game, I'm sorry, and it wasn't like we don't yell at the kids. It wasn't like that. We were just, and we've coached everything up. I think anyone that's played for me would in these situations would always say that we were. I remember a funny story once I was coaching basketball, and we had a great team. We were beating another team. A friend of mine was the other coach, and we were running up to score, but against my wishes. And I was yelling at my guys because they get the ball, they would rebound, they were fast breaking, and they were having a great time. We're up like 30 in the second quarter, third quarter. And I'm yelling at them, guys, stop, and I call timeouts, like get them to stop. One of the parents afterwards, my friend who's a coach of the other team came over and said, Steve, what are you doing? Like, I thought you were mentioned. I thought whatever. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, you're yelling at your kids. We're down 30. You still, I go, you think I'm yelling at them I was yelling at them to slow down and to not fast break and to not press. I'm trying to not do that. Exactly.
We've got Bill Belichick against the Jets over here running up 63-7 is not enough. Put the foot on the gas.
I was so upset because I was upset about my kids that they were doing it and I was trying to stop it. And then I got criticized for thinking that I'm doing the exact opposite. But yeah,
it's an interesting thing in this era of like equality and diversity and this and that. They still don't take those trophies away. There's a winner and a loser, and you're going to play to that goal. And I think it's I really like the concept and not hiding from it because like you said, somebody is getting a trophy at the end of the day. So why not be the one? And it's so funny. Last night I was at the Wednesday Night League Championship, which is what they the B League that they call.
Phenomenal game.
What's
phenomenal
that?
Game.
It was a phenomenal game. It was a phenomenal game. Yeah. One of your boys, Jack Ross, is on the team, but he didn't show up for the championship. But it was a great game. But they're celebrating after the game. It was a come from behind win, and I think I don't know if I was with Avi at the moment. I just said I was like, there's nothing like winning a championship. It's just so damn fun. Yeah,
because you put in a lot of work. There's a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of effort, and you want the goal at the end of the day for every single one of those players is to be the guy standing at the end winning. And from the first day of whatever that cold morning in March to the end of the end of the day and that Sunday, that's why you play for it. And if listen, like I said, if you win, You don't win. It's not the end of the world. Nothing changes. Your life doesn't change. But there's a great feeling and there's a great accomplishment, and not just in softball and anything in life. Like you have a goal, you set a goal, and your goal is to do everything possible to complete that goal. And if you can do it, great. And if not, get as close as you can as possible, and you'll be successful in whatever you do. So
So
I don't
yeah.
see why softball or basketball or anything you do should be any different.
So let's go back. You know, you mentioned the physical burden of pitching against a team like King Ventures. Is that what does that come down to? Pitch sequences? Does it come down to how you're positioning your field? What's the higher mental burden against a team like that?
So the mental burden is against the average softball player. If I'm on, they're going to get themselves out a lot more than they're going to get on, right? Just by virtue of whether you're throwing fast or you're not throwing, not against me, it's in general. Like against an average pitcher, the average player is just going to get himself out a lot more than he will against against another average player. Against a good pitcher, the average player will get himself out, and then he'll also get out by virtue of the pitcher getting him out. When you're playing guys like Archie and Race and these guys that they're smart enough to know, the guy's throwing heat. I'm going to take a little bit off. I'm not going to try to jack one every time. Add him off. Like these guys, they know how to hit. Glenn, so now your challenge is these guys are not getting themselves out. You're going to have to get them out. And getting them out means you're going to have to not only beat them with your better stuff, you're going to have to make sure that they don't know what stuff is coming, whether it's an inside pitch, an outside pitch, something off speed, something a little faster on the hands. And then you got to make sure your field is positioned right. Because if you're pitching to a certain way, and then you make, I think Archie's in game 3, I think it was game 3, his base hit up the middle that scored the run in the first inning. That was actually we planned for that exact play, and the field, for whatever, I think it was Abish position, like Abish for some reason took a step or two towards the hole, and he's like, I just had to bring, like he forgot what we were doing there, which I think would have been a pretty routine grounder for him, the way it was hit. He just was out of position. So when you have guys that can control the bat so well, and they're not intimidated in the box, they're not just swinging because they think it's they don't want to go 0-2 against a guy who throws fast. They don't care. It's much harder. So there's a mental challenge as well as a physical challenge.
Curious about that specific sequence with Archie. Why did you want to play him up the middle? What were you throwing him that you thought he was going to go there?
So we were throwing him. It was like it was a couple of pitches inside, and then go outside, and try to get him to hit something to right. Why? Because he has less power to right, and we have a great defense on the right side. Svigorth at second is phenomenal, and our outfield out there is great. So we felt that our best chance, and he, a guy like Archie's not going to hit the ball as hard to the right side as he will to the left side. And if you don't hit the ball as hard,
the shortstop moving towards second base, but he didn't go far enough.
Yeah. But he, for some reason, thought he was going to play more in the hole. I don't know why. Like it was like one of those things. Like right, I don't know if I have to look at the video see if it's on it. But you see right after, Abra's like, "Oh my god, I lost my train of thought. Like I should have been up the middle there."
So are you sometimes shifting your field in the middle of an at bat, or no?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that's a high mental load to keep track of especially during every at bat.
No, there's also some guys like to pull the ball, right? So there's two ways to think about that. If a guy's a dead pull hitter, you want to go away from his strength. One thought is, let me go away from his strength. Let me pitch him outside and let him try to pull the ball, and he's not going to do as well. Which is, I do that a lot against certain guys. And certain guys, I'm like, listen, this guy, the way he's swinging today, he's the only way he's hitting a fair ball if it's right down the line, because he's so ahead of the play, he's so jumpy that I want him to pull the ball, because I know I have a great field. He's going to hit it to my third baseman. He's going to hit it to my left fielder. There's nowhere else he's going to be able to go with it. So if I feel that, I'll just tell the third baseman he's coming to you, and just stay there. Just keep guarding that line and let him pull it all day long. I don't care. And the batter and people are thinking, oh my God, he's getting around them. No, he's not getting around. We're doing that on purpose. We want him to hit the ball there because that's the only place he can go. He can't go anywhere else on the field except for that spot. So his chances of dropping ball somewhere between the third baseman and the left fielder where we're playing, it was very, very difficult.
Got it. Did anybody
Yeah.
in the King Ventures lineup surprise you? Hit better than you expected? Worse than you expected?
No, I played these guys all 1,000 times. So yeah, I thought Race did a good job. He's a tough out.
I was
You
going
know,
to
he's
ask
very
you, Steve.
smart.
I was going to ask you about Ellie Race because he's one of the guys that you don't really get to face too often because he's Muncie, Lakewood. He hasn't really played much in the 5,000 until this year actually. With Sunday morning, he plays an Ashes team Monday nights. What do you think about Ellie Race?
Solid player. He had a rough game in the field, game one. But I think it was the wind was blowing crazy in left field.
Game 3?
What's that? Game one.
Which game did he have off?
Game one.
Game one. The wind was very, very hard in game one. So there's a couple plays to left that the ball just carried weird and so he had and there was one shot down the line that he had trouble with. So I've seen him play defense. He's great defensively. The guys, I played against him in other leagues. Like I played in Brooklyn. I think he played a couple times.
Yeah, he was on our team in Coyle this past year.
Yeah, so he was really good. As a hitter, he's very smart. He doesn't swing at bad pitches, and he goes with the pitch, and he doesn't try to do too much. So anybody that doesn't try to do too much is gonna be tough, especially when they're good. You know.
Yeah.
So Ellie Race described the Bombers team as cute. You know, and now that in their smug victory podcast, in their victory lap, Archie and Ellie said, what did you think of the competition? He said they were cute. You know, and now I'm thinking back, they scored 9 runs over 3 games.
Dude, and how many of those runs were earned? They won a game.
15-0.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Listen, you know, they won the game. They won the series. They did a great job. They made the plays when they had to. We didn't. Bottom line is, anyone in that team who's honest is not looking at it like, oh my God, we destroyed the value. Like we're lucky to win that one. I mean, come on. The way they won it and how they won it in the you know, I know if it was us, we'd be happy we won, obviously, and they deserve it. But we're not going to go around bragging for winning a championship like that. Like, relax, you know?
Although, Steve, there has been a lot of, if you want to get into that last inning of the championship game, so there's been obviously a lot of talk about that ground ball to third that, you know, at the end of the day should have ended it. But the first couple of batters there also, Steve, you know, I think going into the series, there's a lot of talk from the King Venture side, take pitches, wear him out, he's going to start walking people, and it never really happened with you. The last inning of Game 3, there was a couple of very crucial, I think for sure one. I'm not sure if there's a second. I think you walked Kaufman. There might have been another one in there. What was going on with there in that last inning, especially against Kaufman? Did you just lose control? Was there something you were trying to do against him? Like, what was happening?
There was two banners. So Kaufman was the first walk, right?
Yeah, you walked Kaufman with one out in the inning, maybe.
Yeah, 1 out. First guy hit a shot at Pfeiffer, I think. It was like yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought I'm trying to remember if
I think in that inning, right? Didn't Nenner hit
Nenner got hit after the Kaufman walk.
Yeah. So I think with Kaufman, listen, it's tough against good hitters, and you walk guys. I thought Kaufman, I'm not sure if it was that at bat or the at bat before, where there was a couple of questionable calls to start the at bat. And then once you have questionable calls, you start squeezing a little bit. The second walk was first and third with 1 out, and Unger was up. And I just felt I didn't want to give in. I didn't want to give in to him. And I knew I wasn't. I know Tzvi was on deck, and I felt that the way he was hitting that day, we had a chance of keeping in the infield and maybe getting a double play. And so I didn't want to give Ezzy, like I said, the wind was in that game was also blowing out, right? There was a play to us in right field that we had a weird play that the ball just kept going.
I think the wind in game 1 was blowing in, and the wind in game 3 was blowing way out.
Yeah. So with Ezzy, it's weird. He's when he hits the ball just jumps off his bat. So I don't know what his career average off me is. It's probably not great, but I know he's hit a couple of big shots off me. Like when he does connect, he does well. So I just didn't want to give up anything big there. And so I pitched around him. And then it seemed to have worked
Which
because
is really smart. I was going to say, because you got Wild to pop up, and then he got the ground ball to third, which really would have won you the championship.
yeah, I was actually hoping Twee hit a grounder, but he hit a pop up to me, and then it's ground ball should have been the game over, you know.
Right.
But like you know, listen, when you're pitching against anybody of this quality, sometimes you try to be a little too fine, and sometimes it backfires.
Who would you give the MVP of that series to on King Ventures?
I mean, you got to give it Yossi Kaufman. He pitched basically all 3 games. He won 2 games that he started. He pitched great in game 3. He hit well.
Yeah, Yossi actually had a bunch. Game 1, Yossi had I think 2 or 3 hits. I think 2 for 3 or something like that. And Malcolm put him in the 5 hole. I'm not sure how he hit the last 2 games. I don't think it was so impressive. I think it was okay maybe, but Yossi drew a couple walks, had a couple hits, and he pitched. At least game 3 dynamite. And game 2, he wasn't on, but he got the job done. So
let's get into Sam Sutton's controversial stick. A couple of things I want to ask you about from that interview, Steve. Number one is that there was an old Steve Pollan and a new Steve Pollan. Well, I'm phrasing it incorrectly. There was a prime Steve Pollan and an aging Steve Pollan, and we're now looking at the old, broken down, aging Steve Pollan. What are your thoughts on that?
So if an aging, old, broken out Steve Pollan could hold a team like King Ventures in game 3 to 1 run, and and pitch 14 innings in the first 2 games, and that prime Steve Pollan must have been pretty good, right? So I don't know. Honestly, I don't think I'm that much of a different pitcher than I was back then. Maybe a little bit off here and there, but I don't know.
Have you seen any changes? I mean, I remember I asked you a couple of podcasts a couple of weeks ago if your velocity had declined, and you said not at all. So I'm not sure if you've made any adjustments. Have you even made any adjustments as you've aged? Different workout routine, different way to stay fresh, or things are the same for you?
Same. I don't remember. Listen, that could be. I must have been faster a couple of years ago, right? It makes sense, but I don't think it's that dramatic of a drop off. The one thing I have some days and don't is that curve that we spoke about last time. But that's just on that day. I had it on a couple of weeks ago, and it was and I was mowing guys down, and I'm throwing hard because that pitch is working. So, but I think it's all the same. I don't know. Maybe a little bit here and there. I don't know. I did pretty good last year. I won a couple of championships. I pitched 2 games against 2 great teams in one day to win it.
That was crazy. League. One of the craziest days of softball. That game before we faced Steve, we beat the team I played for the Nshul League last year. So it was me, Moshe Zinn, a couple of Rokachs, we had a couple, Shirley Friedman. It was a solid team, but we weren't phenomenal at all. We faced Archie and Shia Weiss, and we faced Jakob Sabo, and I'm just naming 3 guys, but the whole team was stacked. And we went in there thinking, okay, who else on the team? Gestetner, right? Gestetner was on that team. So we went in thinking, let's play the best we can. And before we know it, we're up 7-6-0 in the 5th, and we ended up winning 8-1. And then Steve comes in and we're guys, we're up 8-1, and then we not pounce, but we get a couple runs of my controversial check swing that Steve doesn't like. Dribbler to the mound, Steve threw the ball, either threw it away or threw it low, and we up 2-0, and then before we know it, we lose 4-2 or something like that. It was 4-2 maybe, 5-2. But that was a crazy day of softball because Steve's team won before our game, and they came back for another game. There was 3 games going on. So Steve won his semifinals, we won our semifinals, and he came back and beat us.
I didn't even know I was pitching the second game.
Well, you weren't supposed to?
We played the Offmans in the first game. I thought Yehuda was going to pitch game 2, and then he said, I'm not comfortable. You going? I'm like, okay, I guess. Figure it out.
I've gotten so close to so many championships against Steve Pollan in my life. Sorry, sad to say that.
All right.
But whatever. I honestly, I don't remember Sam seeing me pitch. If in the Core League, I pitched there 4 years. I won 3 championships. The last year we lost to you, Avi, right? On that weird 6th inning.
Yeah.
And then, so I don't know. I pitched 2-3 innings in that OL tournament. I didn't really even pitch there. So I don't know. I don't even know where he saw me pitch, but I'll take his word for it.
Which, by the way, is this year the breaking news. Apparently, it's not official yet, but apparently the OHL tournament is turning into the LBA tournament with some unknown Tzedakah organization yet to be named. So we'll see. I think September 8th is that tournament this year, so we'll see what happens with that.
Well,
I am
you know
still
what?
a free agent. If anybody wants, I am a free agent. My old team, now that they won the championship in RSK after dropping me, I don't think they're going to pick me up anytime soon. So if anybody wants a pitcher, I am trying to get on the team.
So another thing I wanted to ask you about, Steve. So Sutton mentioned this idea when we talked to him about a draft league versus a conventional choosing up of teams. So I have mixed feelings about it. I think there's definitely something exciting about playing with new players and getting to meet new people. But on the other hand, you have these teams that kind of build a culture, which is very cool. And that's why I'm hoping King Ventures sticks around the league for a while, because it seems like they could develop their own culture. The Bombers have their culture.
Malcolm told me he's handing over the keys to Yossi Kaufman for the spring.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
He messaged me today. Yeah, he said.
I mean, that would be an unbelievable thing if King Ventures could be a new powerhouse team in the area. That'd be a lot of fun, and I think it's something for other players, even players who aren't as talented, to look up to and kind of aspire to, which I think is great. So, what are your thoughts on the draft league concept? Have you ever participated in one? What are your thoughts?
So, I get the idea behind it, but if you hear the way Sam's talks, it's more like because they don't have enough talent to compete over more than two or three great teams. So you have the 2 or 3 all-star teams and whatever. I was always of the opinion of, first of all, I love playing with my guys. I love having the same group, your friends, your teammates, and it's not just specific to anybody, right? Like some leagues, like I play with certain players on Sunday mornings, and I play against them on Monday night, but it's the same team Monday night. You have the same team every year. Like Shia Weiss, I'm playing with Shia Weiss on the Bombers for 15 years, right? But at night, I'm playing against him because he's on the Lobos. Now I want to see, but until this year, I've been playing against him, and it builds rivalries. It builds competition, because if you have guys like the Bombers, right? Everyone knows who we are. Everyone knows our players. We were the champions for 3-4 years in a row, whatever it was. You know who you're gunning after. And then you have a team like King Ventures. Now they're the guys everyone's going after, and we're the ones gunning after them. So it just builds that competition level, and it also gives some other teams and players out there levels of competition to rise to. Whereas if it's a draft league, I don't know, you're really increasing the overall talent level and game playing ability across the board. If everyone's at the same level and you're just mixing up the players, or do you have a tier system where guys at certain teams is better? The predecessor to the HSL in a certain way was the Blue and White League. The Blue and White League, we had 5 teams for the last 5 years or so. Every team was great. Any team could have won the championship any year. It was really a toss-up, but it was great. The competition level, and till this day, except for the Crow Monday Night League, across the board, I've never seen top to bottom talent like that, like the Monday Night, West Hempstead League, whatever it's called now. And I think that's better. I'd rather play in a league of 5-6 great teams than play in a team of 10 teams where everyone's okay.
Right.
It's something I've been trying to figure out, and the Monday Night League has 4 teams this year. The HSL Sunday Titan team had 8, but 2 teams kind of no-showed for much of the season, right? Obviously, I'm forfeited. How many top tier caliber teams is it possible to have in the league in this region? I'm really not sure. I'd like there to be more. It would be great if there were.
I'll tell you, first of all, for this coming season, I think there's 4 off the bat. There's us, Ventures, Bombers, and the Robins. The Robins are going to officially joining the spring, hopefully in the fall as well, but for sure in the spring.
But if the schedule works out, we'll see what happens with Ari.
Yeah, they'll be in Titan. But that's 4 off the bat right there.
Okay.
Can we get to 6? I don't know. It's a good question. It's hard.
I don't know if the Jewish gene pool just doesn't allow for a certain level of talent generally, or something. I don't know what it is, but it seems like the A leagues don't struggle to get a large pool of teams. And I don't know. I don't know why it is. I'm not sure. It's something I've been wondering about and wondering if there's a way to rectify that.
I think there was a generational gap of like 10, 15 years that guys, we don't have like a lot of play. Like our team, we're still as competitive as ever, right? and even if you take the Lobos, like, those guys, they're all in the 40s, 50s, right? And then you have a drop off, and now you're starting to see guys like Avi's team and that team. I was very upset they left the Monday Night League, but they were young,
Shine. They're called Shine, I
showing.
think.
They were,
Yeah.
they were close, and the Sluggers this year, right? Like Svelbert's team in your league, like
Yeah.
they have like 4, 5, 6 players that are legit players. They just got to keep playing. It's a lot of this. You got to just stay with it. Like when I started playing, I said in the last podcast, I played in the Brooklyn League, which was like the predecessor to all these leagues. Like you had the Long Island Queens League wasn't as built up yet. The best league, Jewish softball league at the time, was the Brooklyn Young Israel or whatever called softball league. And there was like 12, 14 teams. And my team, we had very good players, excellent players. But we were like 3-15 one year and 6-10 the year. Like we just couldn't compete. Whatever, we didn't know how to play right. We just were like, and then we figured out how to play. We got better until we became competitive. Yehuda Koenig tells me the same thing. When he came into this league, his first couple of years, they were like 4-10, 2-12. Then they got a couple of new players. He got better. His teams got better. They learned how to play better. The next year they made the playoffs. They were 9-9, and they became. It takes 4, 5, 6 years to compete and to learn how to win at this level. Like I see a lot of talent, young guys that are really good, but they don't know how to play it. They don't know really what it is that's winning baseball. Can they hit the ball further than the next guy? Can they throw the ball further? Can they run faster? Yeah. I tell it to my son all the time. My son is an incredible talent, but he's learning the game. He's learning how to play at our level, and you got to be able to take that talent and put that talent into a box of what works and what doesn't work in a competitive setting. When to run, when not to run, when to make the throw. You don't have, like everyone has an ego when they're young. They got to fly balls to center field. With one out, guy in first and third, and they're going home because I can throw that guy out. 99 of 100 times, you're not throwing the guy out. All you're doing is at best you're getting the ball at home. The guy's going to second. If you don't throw it away, the guy's going to third. And all of a sudden, you're giving away runs for no reason. And a team like ours, and a team like King Ventures, and teams that know how to play, they're going to take advantage of that. So it takes time to really learn how to control your ego, not swing for the fences every time, not try to be, the guy that is the hero. Like it's not hero ball. You got to learn how to play as a team, and it takes time. So the best advice to any of these teams is just keep playing and just learn. And there's talent in your league. Like that Sluggers team is good. Blisco's team is solid. They just gotta.
Mobat also, I see what you were saying.
Mobat's very good. Yeah,
guys who are very, very talented and
Do you
young.
think-
very
Do
good.
you think?
Yeah.
Do you think? I'm wondering if also players just get intimidated by the level of intensity in the A League. I have to say though, I subbed for Avi's Monday Night League one game this year against Glenn's team, and the intensity is what? Smacking, yeah. No, the intensity. They were actually pretty chilled that game. I got bowled over by Jack Ross, and I'm still recovering. Mo was down like 5 players, so I found myself playing first base, which I've never played before, and I was running towards the bag to get the throw coming from second. And I'm not used to finding the runner's base versus the fielder's base.
Yeah.
And I got hit by a truck. Jack couldn't have been nicer about it. He told me, he's like, I put my hands up to try to soften the blow. And he said to me, he's like, you're lucky it wasn't Joel Wurtzel. He would have elbowed you. He's like, he would have elbowed you on the way down. Now I'm throwing Jack under the bus. But the intensity is a lot of fun, but I could see it being intimidating to some guys. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Honestly, I don't know anything any different. So, like, I played in the B League a couple of years ago, full league, because they didn't have an A League in Croton, and they didn't let us pitch. So I played outfield. I wanted to play with my son. It was his first time he was able to play with us. I felt it was boring. Like to me, you're playing in a game where when you take pitching out of a game, and we had decent pitchers. They were like okay. They weren't like they weren't A League pitchers, so they were like B League pitchers. To me, if you have a good lineup and it's 5-1 or 7-3 going to the 7th inning, it's the game's the game's always alive, which it's sloppy. It's like you're always this ball's hit all over the place. The scores are crazy. To me, I want to find a 3-2 game where every pitch means something, every at bat means something, every error means something, every walk means something. Whereas in a game like this, okay, man, never a big deal. We're going to score 3 runs in the bottom of the inning anyway. Like it's, the intensity leads to better games, like more exciting games. Whereas in these,
I think, Steve, what you just spelled out, that was exactly what we saw in the championship game between King Ventures and the Bombers. Like every single pinch meant something, every error meant something, every hit meant something. Like that's how close every single game was.
Yeah, to me that's enjoyable. That's what it's all about.
Right.
We got to wrap in a couple of minutes. Avi, you have any final questions for Steve?
So I wanted to bring up one. I wanted to actually bring one thing up that I
sure.
I was, whenever you win or lose, it's always a good feeling or a bad feeling depending on what side you're on. So the reason why this particular championship was so hard on us, it's nothing to do with really winning the game or losing the game or who it was against. I love those guys. We joke around about it all the time, the rivalry, but I play with these guys, Yankee Itzquist, I love these guys, Archie, I'm on their teams in other leagues. Yossi, I have a great deal of respect for. So I don't mind losing to them if they beat us, like that wasn't the issue. The issue was that, and this goes back to the Sam Sutton point as well. I've been doing this for a long time and playing outfield, shortstop, now pitching. And I've been playing with Seth Fishman and Abish, 2 of my best friends in the world, not just in softball, just in real life also. And you start to appreciate that camaraderie and that just be on the field and playing at a high level to this date. And every opportunity you have, whether it's winning or losing, just opportunity to play together and do it at a high level, we appreciate that and we understand. We thank God for every second we have that ability, and you don't know how much longer you have doing that. And whether it's Yehuda or Glenn, these guys I'm playing with now for 5-6 years on this team. So it's just the reason why it was so difficult this time is because you feel like you let something slip away that you don't know if you're ever going to get that. Like I don't know if I'm going to wake up next spring and still be able to pitch well, and if I can't, I'm not pitching anymore. I'm not going to be one of those guys that thinks he can still pitch in the A League and loses every game 7-1 or whatever. Like I'm not going to be that guy. And so every time you when you lose in that fashion with that group of guys, you also take that feeling of, is this the last time this group of guys is going to be able to do this? Now we don't think that because we're going to come back next year and take back what's rightly ours. But there's going to be a time where that statement I just made is not going to be true anymore, and you're not going to know that until you're actually on the field. So that's why it was as hard as it was, just because of who we are together and the friendships and the people and you appreciate every second that you can still do it and it's fun and not everyone can still do it, so we appreciate it.
And to that point, Abish took a tough fall.
Yeah.
In the last inning of that last game, it was like I think I mentioned
would have tied the game. That would have tied the game.
Yeah, and it was like out of a movie. Like I went after he got checked up on, like I went over to him and I said, feel good, like hope it was. And he's like yeah, he's like, this is it for me. This is my last. I don't know if it will be it. But like it was straight out of the movie. Like last inning, 2 out, like 1 out, whatever it was. Like yeah, this is it. This is my goodbye. This is my farewell. Yeah. So like I doubt it.
Sign it. Thank God he woke up the next day. It wasn't pulled. It wasn't torn. He was okay.
Right.
But like that gets to the point when you're playing. When you're at this age, you're in the 50s, and guys are playing 2 games on a hot day like that, and it's intense. Things happen, so you got to appreciate every second you have. But he's coming back.
He's coming.
So, are there going to be any? I don't know if you guys are coming back next spring. I hope so.
We're coming back.
Come back, great. Any? Are you considering any modifications to the roster, or you're going to go? You pound for pound, you guys matched King Ventures, a bad break at the end over there. Your team, you're sticking.
Our team's our team. I think we were, it wasn't like the Rangers against Florida where there was a lot of, when they played a team of that caliber, they realized, wait a second, we're missing size and speed and whatever.
Right.
We're right there. I'm not like, we didn't play well. And I thought we did not play our game. I don't think they played great either. They're much better than how they played. Game 3, they played great. But the first 2 games, they did not play as well as they could play. So No, we're fine. We're going to bring back our guys, and we're going to do our thing, and we'll see how it all unfolds, and let Race and Archie and sing and jump around all they want now, and see what happens next year.
All right. Steve, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. We have three special feature podcasts we want to do. We have more ideas, but first of all, I want to do a pitchers roundtable, which I think would be a lot of fun. Get different pitchers who pitched a long time, maybe some younger pitchers, to kind of talk together. That's one idea. Another one is gotten feedback from a couple of people to do a podcast about this guy who ran the Lobos for years. I forgot his name.
Chaim Silver.
Chaim Silver.
Yeah. Tremendous guy.
Just person, and a couple people said he came up in one of the podcasts with Archie, and a couple people told me since then we should have a podcast just kind of talking about him, memorializing him. Were you close with him also?
So I was very close to him. I grew up when I used to go to Bungalow Colony when I was really younger, like I was 6, 7, 8 years old. Went to a place called Kanianga Park in White Lake, and our bungalow was like right near theirs. So my parents were very friendly with it. My parents were very friendly with them. So we were close then. I was part of the first real championship. When we do a podcast about him, we'll talk about the Lobos upstate, but his real championship in Brooklyn Marine Park League, I was part of a team. Seth and I were brought into a team that was pretty good. This is when we were in our primes, and we were really good. And we came onto that team, and we won our championship in Brooklyn. That was the first Lobos Jewish OBBL championship. It was in a real league. So I was proud to be part of his first championship. We had pictures from the dinner. It was great.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so this kind of ties into the third podcast, which Seth Fishman agreed to come on.
Did he really?
Yeah. He said I was trying to get him on the podcast that we did with Adam and Kaufman, one of those at the end there, and he's like, nah, I don't do podcasts. I said, well, we're going to do an old timer bomber or just an old timers podcast. He's like, that one you have me for. That one I'll be doing. So that would be a lot of fun also. So if you have other ideas also, and to anybody watching or listening to, maybe doing some more editions.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It should be not just bombers. It should be like some of the old the guys who really started this league. Whether it's from the guy like Svi Weil, who was, I don't know if you guys saw him in his prime, but Svi Weil in his prime was as good as anybody that's ever played.
I've heard.
He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. I'll tell you a funny story. We play in Brooklyn League, and I never saw these. He comes down on this team, Brooklyn. I never saw him play before, and he had a couple other guys see this guy, and but they had like pace behind their ears and whatever. And I'm like, all right, whatever. These guys, where they learn how to play baseball in Borough Park, And he had a shot. I remember I wasn't pitching. This is pre-pitching days, and we're playing in Avenue K, which is like a fenced field. And he had a shot like 50 feet over the fence, which was like a bomb. And ever since then, I'm like, this guy. And when he was in his prime, I mean, he's still great now, but when he was in his prime, he was as good as anybody ever. Again, guys like Koenig, who's also has great history. Glenn, these guys really know the game, and they know all the players. So it'd be good for some of the younger guys now to know where it all started. Who these guys are now they're playing against. And who they were at one point. Like you look at a guy like Matt Rosenberg, like that was Svi Weil, maybe not with the speed, but that was Svi Weil 25 years ago. Not kind of partial. So they should know it.
Think Matt Rosenberg would ever come on a podcast, Dave?
No, zero chance.
All I know about the guy is he hit one of the farthest home runs I ever saw off of Nachum Mintz, but we ended up beating them in that playoff game. He was on there. He's playing for the Robins in the B League night league last year, and we went up 2-0. And Nachum, we were feeling good. I think it was his second at bat, and Nachum pitched.
Yeah, I was on that Robins team.
You're on that Robins. He made that ball so far. I came over to Nachum after the inning. Nachum came over to me, and he's like, I was pitching really well. I got a little cocky there.
Matt is the physically most gifted player I've ever seen. 5 tools. He's physically as good as I've ever seen.
Dom said to me that he's the best player in Nassau County. That's what Dom said to me, and I guess
I play with Matt on a team that was a non-Jewish league in like by the old hell. There's a few fields, like I forgot the name of like in all these, I forgot the name of the league, and he was ripping it up, they were making fun of guys. He's pinch running for guys because he's a white kid, white Jewish boy, pinch money for you guys. Like, and he was he's as good in that league as he was in our league. He's legit.
All right, Steve, thanks so much for
All
coming
right.
on. Great friend of the HSL, great friend of the podcast.
Yes,
Everybody
thank you,
loves
Steve.
what you have to say, so we really appreciate you taking time.
Look out for the fall softball league. There hasn't been a fall league in a long time, in many years. So we're bringing
Looking
it
forward.
back. It's going to be competitive. We're going to have 2 tiers, and stay tuned for that. Thanks,
Looking
guys.
forward. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you guys. All right.
So, Steve.